Boys, listen to me.
I don't want to listen to you.
Listen
You're
to me.
creepy.
Last week.
Can I take guesses what you're going to say?
No.
A Louisville woman.
I was going to say what you said, like, immediately. I was like, that's sad.
We've already reacted this, but you're going to get it
No,
for the first
we didn't.
time.
We didn't even get through the whole thing.
Oh, that wasn't it? She didn't. That wasn't the story.
That's not the story.
Okay, go on.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, have you ever had a
Okay.
client where you just...
I kind of
Slap both of you.
Oh, there's a.
Okay. So last week, a Louisville woman died. Okay.
Oh, God.
And her obituary is going viral. Okay. Her
Why?
obit. Why? Well,
Why?
the first line says, "Well, it finally happened. I died." To state the obvious.
Yeah.
She goes on to say, "I have two siblings still living. I can't talk. I have two siblings still living, neither of whom deserve mention here."
Oh, my God.
She goes, "In order to finally have the smoking hot body I've always wanted, I chose to be cremated." And she goes, "The idea of being buried just kills me." Pun intended.
Oh, no. She thought about it too much.
Oh, yeah. "Please come by to say farewell and celebrate my awesome trip through life. 2 drink tickets for everyone coming through the door." That was her obituary.
With no address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Dude, what a way to go out.
I know, right?
Such a positive message for the world.
No, I dig it.
Except for her siblings, you know, they can go.
They don't need mention
They
here.
can go kick a rock.
My brother would get a kick out of that if I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that brother person, not going to mention him.
I love how she was assume right, like that her siblings were still alive. Like she knew that her life would just be shorter than theirs. I assume maybe they're younger or something.
I'm assuming that she knew she was going to die, buddy.
Oh, you think so?
I'm assuming so. I didn't read that
Everybody's
far.
great sense of humor dies.
Yeah. So
Have you written your obituary?
yeah, I actually have my will already together. You know,
No.
you have 3 kids. You want the state to take that?
Not even 30. We're working on it. Leave
David?
me alone.
No, I don't have...
He doesn't have anybody to leave stuff to.
I think it would be cool to leave like a conditional obituary. Like I have like 5 or 6 of them written up, and like depending on how I die, they choose the one. It's like if died of asphyxiation, choose obituary A.
TMI.
It's like a little. It's like the automated phone recorder.
Yeah, I shouldn't tell you the ways I play.
We found him with a belt around his neck.
doing the hokey pokey.
Intro us.
Oh my gosh.
At least it played this time.
Hey, I feel like we do this every other week, but I'm gonna say, hey, it's been a long week, so
Hey, it's been a
enjoy
long
the
week.
ride.
Woo!
And, you know, it's funny because we're recording on a Monday. Dance along
We
In the car.
dancing.
in the house, walking the dog.
Walking the dog in the house?
On it, driving in the car. The dog's just hanging outside, running, keeping up.
Who are we?
We're the TRIFLIX team. That's what we are.
We're the TRIFLIX team. Yeah.
You didn't switch to yourself.
We're on the team, man. Having this monitor for you guys is the worst mistake I've ever made.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're the TRIFLIX team. We're a bunch of creative individual people that came together. And Columbus, Indiana, is where we're based out of. We make some photo, video, website kind of doodads. We work with a lot of people, a lot of small mom and pop shops, do some weddings. But then every once in a while, we get to learn a little thing or two, and we bring it back here to the TRIFLIX cast, and we
bring
share
it
what
back.
we learn. Or just complain, you know. We don't like to be sad and negative people, but, you know, sometimes you just got to vent.
Yeah,
You got
both
to
count.
vent.
You just gotta be sad sometimes. You just gotta be real sad.
It's okay to be sad.
Yeah, it is okay to be sad. That's a very important part of life. Embrace it.
Who are you, Tristan?
Oh,
wait, what?
Who are you?
You said my name.
Who are you?
I am. That's it. That's it. I'm just here.
You're just
And
there.
this guy,
That's
who's that
it. You
guy?
just exist.
I got put on the spot. It's been a long day. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
it's easy to forget who you are.
Well, I would gladly talk about myself.
Yeah.
My name is Cole, and I'm awesome.
I like chocolate.
And I like chocolates, okay? What's he selling? Chocolates. What? Chocolate.
And I'm me. I'm David Baker.
Who, me?
wow.
Me is not you, but me.
We'll see if those name tags match up this time.
Can't wait.
We'll find out real quick.
You already know.
Yeah, did that work? Leave a like and comment if they worked.
I'm gonna have a fun name tag this one.
Oh yeah. Well, guys, this
on?
is the first unscripted. Sorry, it's never scripted. The first podcast that we've done this season without an outline.
We all have teleprompters every episode except for this one. Normally we read
pre-write it all.
the 2-hour John Budnick, the hour and a half Scott Hunley, and however long every other one of them is. It's very methodical. And this one is the opposite. This is
Unmethodical.
Thodmed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're off to a great start because we've
Thodmed.
essentially talked about nothing.
Well, we talked about Louisville.
We got a couple things.
Let's talk about the thing you want to talk about. Let's just jump right in.
Get out of the way.
That's gonna. No, it's not about getting it out of the way. I guarantee it will stem more conversation.
Yes, I think it will.
Start me, David.
All right.
Tell me about Bubba.
So Bubba, it's my
Boba.
favorite Bubba.
It's like boba tea.
Bubba Fett.
It's not nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. He is a little heavy set.
I told you. Did I not tell you?
He is a. All right. We're talking about the Book of Boba Fett. We alluded to this a podcast ago, 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Disney's new big release.
Didn't he?
Didn't he?
Good old Disney. And it's. I've got my thoughts and reservations about this show.
Well, I've talked a little about
Can
it.
we get some context? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So if you've ever seen Star Wars, there's a character called Boba Fett. He's a bounty hunter.
Okay.
He gets eaten by a worm.
In the Sarlacc pit, I think it's called.
Oh, going in deep.
Yes.
In deep.
Please use the right terminology.
I'm sorry that I didn't call it the Sarlacc pit.
You're not really talking to Star Wars fans, am I?
I know what they are, but I'm not going to call anyone out on it.
Sorry, I'm not a nerd.
I'm not a nerd either. I'm not super big into Star Wars.
Nah.
But
No,
they
the show's
mentioned it in the show. I think they called it a Sarlacc pit.
They did.
Anyway, he was supposed to die in there, but he's not dead.
We're supposed to die.
And
So
so
if he
here we
wrote
are.
his obituary.
Yeah, I was supposed to die in the Sarlacc pit.
It was one of his contingency ones.
Yeah. So it follows his story, I guess, stemming before / after the Mandalorian show, which is kind of what this series is riding on.
Just a touch.
Unfortunately.
Just a touch.
Loosely.
It's not unfortunate, okay? It made the series, but it
Yes.
totally was like, is this the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
And that's one of my, that's the first actual thing I don't like about it. It's like, this was supposed to be a show about Boba Fett, and I wanted to learn about him and see him be the character and all that stuff. And then like halfway through the season, I think Disney was like, Mandalorian was cool. You need to have Mandalorian in there. And so like it literally just turns into the Mandalorian show for basically like a third of it in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And like I don't hate the Mandalorian. I like it a lot, but like he has his own show. Like why is he here so much?
If they do that to Obi-Wan, I'm going to lose it. I've been waiting like 25 years for that. Well,
that's a good point.
I'm only 25. I've been waiting 20 years for it because I grew up on the prequels whenever it was.
I'd be pretty mad too.
Yeah.
They better just like, it's just all of a sudden all about Anakin.
Yeah. Well, I'd be okay if that happened, but like,
Would you?
yeah, no, if it's like original cast stuff, sure. But if they're just like, oh, actually, we're going to rope in all these cast members that were like in all the movies that just came out, I'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
they're-
I got you.
I don't
Yeah.
want them there.
Like if Rey shows up.
Yeah, no, she'd
So-
probably learn how to use something that she's never touched before in like 30 seconds.
Just
better than
intuitively.
anyone that's trained for it.
Yeah.
So, hot take, you don't
Yes.
like it.
That's.
You don't
I
like
thought
it.
it was okay.
He fixed it.
Let's
It was
get
okay.
polarizing.
He fixed it. Okay. It was boring.
So I guess we should say spoilers for the show because it's relatively
It's
new.
a little late, but yes.
Yeah. From here on out, actual like plot point spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. Spoiler.
So Mandalorian shows up, and then they fixed it, but like you have this season was like
would you
3
slow
to
down
4. This season is like 3 to 4 big ideas that should have had their own season.
Correct.
And it's just kind of a hot mess, and I didn't really enjoy it for that fact.
Yes.
Like the whole beginning part of it is like Boba Fett like trying to regain all of his armor. I feel like that whole thing just should have been like a season.
Where's my clothes?
Because there's just no payoff for like almost any of the things happening. It's just like I don't really care about these people, this Tusken Raiders or whatever they're doing. I don't care about the stupid mod people.
Okay.
And
that was pretty bad. That was a bad ad.
They were. Yeah.
Tell me if I don't think I've ever seen anything just like a blatant, just stand out, like not part of a world type of design, like those bikes.
Yeah. See, they could have like made it so they're living on a desert planet. Like everything kind of sucks there. And then there's these people that are just like dropped in from like in the middle of a city of like a giant fancy city planet, and like all their cars are like shiny and their clothes look like they just came out of like the dry cleaners.
Yeah.
Like they don't look dirty at all, which makes no sense. They're on a sand planet.
It doesn't look like Star Wars.
It doesn't, no.
That's the issue. It's supposed to be, a dystopia, right? Like that's the whole point of it. And then it's like these guys went and bought a Vespa somewhere.
And they got it decked out with like the best paint in the world, and they're driving it around the sand planet, and it's not dirty at all.
Is this like is this a plot point where like the writers want you to be like upset with these people? Like, are they like the negative connotation group?
They're supposed to be like the edgy, like cool kids they're like not part of society and like kind of cast away because they mod themselves with droid parts.
Oh, that's tight.
So like it's a cool
That's
concept
tight.
that just executed like really poorly. It's like I don't care about these people.
Okay, so for you feel like they're jumping around with source material and kind of like blending too many ideas at once together.
Yeah, they don't have anything fleshed out. They don't give anything enough time. And the characters are really like cardboard cutouts of like maybe what should have been. Holy crap. We almost had a mishap.
That's from Star Wars?
That's
Dude, that looks like it's straight out of Back to the Future.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that doesn't make
that?
any sense.
and I'm not saying like if they remade Back to the Future with good graphics, it looks like they just took some props from set from what the future would show. That's pretty hateful to be
Isn't that
honest.
bad?
Like I don't mind the shiny aspect of it, but I don't know. It's
It doesn't fit. And
you
then
can you can take elements of different things and blend it together in a cohesive way. Because I mean, give me some time, I'll come up with an example. But like it's possible.
Yeah. Like they should have taken those designs and then just aged them out for like 20 years if they were just sat around in a desert.
yeah, give us some patina.
Yeah.
That would have helped a ton.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it just seemed kind of scatterbrained.
Yeah.
But see, I didn't enjoy it until like Mandalorian showed up,
And the
I was like,
Mandalorian right in the middle.
it was so. I'm just like, that dude's tight. Like,
Yeah, that one whole episode pulled me back in completely.
Yep.
Like it was like, all right, this is a whole episode just for Mandalorian. I was like, dude, this is so interesting. What is happening? I don't know what's going on.
And the dark saber stuff, super cool.
Yep. I like that a lot. It's really interesting because I think it's kind of implying that he's like, since he's not a Force user, that like lightsabers are just like unwieldy to even try to use, which is kind of cool.
Which is new information.
Yeah.
Kind of not, but I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
so the thing with lightsabers are like the precedent was set like only a couple people had them because you were supposed to make your own. You had to go to your own planet to do that, get a crystal, make your toy.
Right.
It's just like Disney. They have a whole.
It's like Build-A-Bear.
It's like Build-A-Bear.
But for death.
But for death making. And like at Disney, you go through that like whole process. It's pretty cool because I remember doing that as a kid. And so you have like this whole process on where to get them. I'm sure like the idea is anybody could go there, but then there's a specific plot point whenever another fan favorite other than Boba Fett, General Grievous, who I like a lot. He like has lightsabers from all the people that he kills, and he just collects them like toys, like Build-A-Bears. And, and like he says, I've trained under one of the guys that is like most proficient in using them, and he wasn't like a force user. Like he didn't have any natural talent. He was like half robot, so like his robotic AI, you know, the brain part of him that's like very calculated was what allowed him to do it. So like the precedent is either you have a natural talent or you're just like super robotic and like your brain can just work differently. So that was the precedent set in the lore up to this point. So it is interesting to me that other people can use it.
I do think there's some illusions that this saber is a little bit different.
Yes.
Like it might have like some sort of mystical mind of its own type of thing that you have to like be in tone with, or like, I don't know, you have to be on like the same mind space to like understand like what you should be doing with it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's like when these guys try to wield it, the Mandalorian and whoever the guy is that he kills.
Yeah.
Spoiler, he did.
It's like heavy. Like he can't swing it, and he's like
Bubba.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't touch it. But the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I know. See, isn't that so confusing? You're like, shouldn't the main character? And then it's like,
have the character development. Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I honestly thought that his whole storyline was just
Who's
Boba Fett.
Oh yeah,
it was
he's
very
just
boring.
a very cardboard cutout character too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. It's just like like he's supposed to be a bounty hunter. He's just supposed to be like a man for hire. He doesn't really give a crap about people.
Yeah.
And then
Said feet.
About
he don't care.
He'll
about
cut off
feet.
them feet too.
Cut off them feet
I don't mind.
quick.
Doesn't care about you or your feet.
He's hunting.
He's hunting for
Sorry.
feet. Anyway, yeah, and then like it just starts off right from the get go with him just kind of like, I'm gonna take over this like place and I'm gonna be cool and like not kill people, but then I'm going to kill people when it's, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a writer problem. And it could be producer, it could be writer. I don't think that's a director decision. It's before the director gets any of the papers.
It was supposed to be Jon Favreau.
He was the writer.
Yeah.
So I mean, that makes sense. So the thing is, and I said I would come up with an example of somebody that integrates well, and that's the Russo brothers, because they built all of Marvel. And I've never heard anybody really complain. I've heard writing complaints, but I've never heard about big picture, how a story blends together and how like, hey, this is in the comic and Iron Man doesn't look exactly like that's the biggest part, is like the costumes. It's like the comics, it looks very, very inspired. Like all the costumes always look very inspired, but they're slightly different. So, you know, for that being what it is, like it shows that like it's possible for somebody to do that. And then, I mean, Jon Favreau was a part of like the original, you know, Iron Man. And so it's like he has some overlap.
His
there.
stuff is usually pretty good. Like his movie Chef was great, and he did The Mandalorian. All of that was like his brainchild. I'm like 90% sure. So I think Disney had a lot of their hands like going like, no, you must do this, appeal to the millennials with the mods, or like, I don't know.
The mouse had a stick in his hand. He was just standing there and he's like, you think you can write whatever you want, Mr. Favreau? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like what would happen. Because like the biggest thing is there's a show that David and I watch, and I think we've mentioned it a few times before, and that's Jotaro's Bizarre Adventure. It's an anime. It's a cartoon for adults. Pretty, I wouldn't watch it with your kids kind of thing. And it's
just like
a
this
very
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let them hang out here. This is pretty rough. Except theirs is for violence and ours isn't. And ours is
it's just actually JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I just want to get that out there.
Jotaro's the only JoJo that matters. So the way the show works, the premise made me really frustrated because of what shows are popular right now. And it was just so different, where it's a generational show. So every-ish season, there's a new main character, and it's like down a family line. And then it starts to go off to like distant family members, and like the main character changes every time. So every season, everything you knew up to that point can completely change. The first season, it threw me off because it's like, well, this is completely different. Like he threw out all his source material, but the thing that makes it okay, and the thing that makes it different from what you're explaining in Star Wars here, is story is the number one thing. So really, it's like 10 really, really, really good stories that are just like loosely connected. The connections are good enough to make the story go on, and if you like suspension for disbelief in those moments, everything else about it works. And the difference with The Mandalorian here is like, you have to go through like 4 episodes from what you're saying before the guy that you actually want to watch, or the part that makes it interesting, is there. And it's like, what did I just waste 4 hours for?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good example, because like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the writer really admires like kind of a lot of Western culture. A lot of it's like Western inspired, because it's like one that was like a murder mystery, and one was like a literally like Indiana Jones. You go off and do stuff. So there's a lot of like inspirations there. It's like, I want to write a good this type of story, like a good jailbreak story. I want to write that. And then he uses his characters to enable that to happen. And then I think what Disney did is the opposite. Is like, we have all these characters, and you need to have this character and this character and this character, make a story out of it. And it's like, and it also has to have these story plots in it, and it's just that doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Boba Fett, and that's like the difference between like somebody that wants to focus on just story and character development, and somebody that just has a bunch of like IPs or like collection of things that they just like, all right, I don't really care, just make it work.
It all needs to go together.
Yeah.
All right, there you go, Daniel. There's your clip. Take that one. Run with it.
What else can we say about it?
I don't know.
That's the thing, is like, well, okay, so they did another deep fake.
They did.
They brought back Luke again. Young Luke.
Young Luke.
Did he sound weird to you when he was talking?
A little bit.
Like, it didn't sound like how a normal person or like he would talk.
Like the cadence was off.
Yeah.
So like the voice sounded the same.
Sounded
It just
like
kind of
him.
modulated.
It didn't even sound modulated. It just kind of sounded like quotes of him saying those things, but like cut together. It didn't sound like a natural conversation to me.
It would be
Like-
funny if like the instances, like they just took sound bites from the original and just pasted it in, and then tried to like match move the lips later, right?
Yeah.
So then like he's like, you know, I'm trying to think of a quote, but like he's like, yeah, like, you know, just like really enthusiastic, but like they just needed the word yeah with a different inflection, but they're like,
Kind
yeah,
of.
whatever, just
Yes.
said it. So it's like, hey, you know, are you going to be there tomorrow at the event? He's like, yeah, just overly happy about it.
Cole had something. What do you got?
I got your answer here.
Why does it sound weird to me?
Because it's a voice synthesizer.
It is?
Called Respeecher.
Yep.
I knew it.
Yep.
It sounded bad.
It literally does use, you know, sound bites of him and puts everything together. And yeah, it says from old material featuring Hamill's voice around the original Star Wars. So that's...
I'll say it was impressive, but I could tell it was not like an actual human speaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else could hear it, but
Yeah.
you know, since I already knew at least he physically was fake
right.
on some level, I was already like, what else is not right here? And so, yeah.
It's funky, dude. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I think they did a better job with the deep fake this time around.
It was a much better job.
Yeah, than when he showed up at the end of Mandalorian. But like,
Yeah.
they're still just like, they're getting so close, but there's still that uncanny valley where you're just like, you see it and you're kind of like, something isn't right here. Because, you know, he's like, the way his face moves, it's like his top lip, you know, has no, you know, muscle in it.
Well, top lip shouldn't.
That's not true.
The
I mean,
distance
when you're-
between the nose and the top of the lip shouldn't have any movements. Like,
yeah, but when you talk like
but the sides will.
your lip here, your top lip, like it moves with the things you're saying. And it's like, it's not like the bottom lip of his like moves, but it's like the top one is always the thing that kind of is like,
Well, I mean, the lip, if it's like vertically, the lips shouldn't be moving a whole lot. That's the jaw's job. Like the lips should be like forming the phonetics and stuff.
Are you not
I'm
watching
literally
other people
watching
talk?
you on the monitor and seeing your lips move around as
your
you're
top
talking.
lip moves.
So
What are you trying to
talking
talk with
about?
that lip not moving?
No, so the lips will move, but it's not the muscles that are like. There's not a muscle up here.
Yeah,
that's,
but
that's
we're saying
pulling
that like
up, or
your
this lip's
whole
going down.
entire face is moving when you talk, and like there's parts of it that, what are you saying?
I'll have to give it a
aren't
watch,
moving.
but typically the issue with deepfakes are they hand animate a lot of the mouth movements. Even if the person is talking, because they're not using the actual actor's voice, they're using the synthesizer voice, which means they have to match up whatever he's saying with the cadence of the faked audio. So what happens is oftentimes, I don't know if they're doing the specific one because I haven't seen it yet, but usually the process for this stuff in VFX is they'll go through and they'll have the face, and then they'll do their motion track, and or the deep fake on the face, and then they'll have to do a mouth separately that's usually hand animated. And when you hand animate, a lot of times is they're doing like points, so like the mouth is formulating around the phonetics and the points, but it's not how mouths actually work. They're just trying to get from point A to point B without taking into consideration your human anatomy, because it takes too much time. It's a TV show. They're trying to rip it out in like 6 months to a year.
So, but Cole, your point was that his face was stiff?
It seems stiff. Like, my best example of the worst way possible you could do this. Did you guys see the Justice League?
Oh, the mustache?
Where they had to take the mustache out?
Yeah. That was another example where the lips don't work right.
Yeah, you're just like sitting there, you're like, something ain't right. Like, I had no clue, right?
Yeah.
I do nothing about deep fakes at that point in time. I didn't know they could do anything like that. And I'm just watching the movie, I'm like, man, his lip just doesn't move right.
It's like if there's a road that has a bend in it, and you have like the starting point and the end points at the bend. It's like going from point A to point B, and you just start driving through the grass, and you're just not even on the road anymore. And that's like that bend is that transition from one syllable to another. Like every syllable, I think there's like 30 or so that everybody makes, and you could take any of those phonetics and like formulate any word you want. So that's the issue that they run into, is just how do you perfect that? And there's not a system for it at the moment.
What really bugs me is that there's like so many like voice actors out there that could probably do like a spot on young Luke. Like he's even older than like the last time we saw him in like the actual movies. So they don't even have to be exactly spot on to Luke. They could do like an older Luke impression, and that would sound much better than this voice synthesizer.
And you know there's somebody out there that can do it.
Well, that's the thing too, is like there's like a lot of characters with iconic voices. One of the ones that comes to mind was Uncle Iroh from Avatar series, where he has a very unique voice, and halfway through the final season, I think, he passed away. And then they brought on Alec Baldwin's brother. I don't remember the less famous Baldwin to voice the rest of it. And he did 90% of the job. And it wasn't until after I looked it up, I said, he sounds a little different, that I looked it up and I was like, oh, I'm right, it was somebody else. But it was at least close enough that like it didn't completely change, because it's animation, so like you could throw anybody's voice in there. But it was close enough. And I think if they did that since they're going to be hand animating the mouth the entire time, most likely that they could have pulled somebody else that's like a trained voice, I don't know, emulator, somebody that can match it pretty well.
I mean, voice actors like do that all the time, because that's kind of their job, to just do voices that aren't theirs. And like the voice actor for like Bugs Bunny was done by like the same guy who does like Philip J. Fry. I forget his name, but like
there's a lot of overlap.
So like, as the original voice actor for Bugs Bunny, I believe he's dead. Is it Mel Blanc?
I'm not sure.
Drawing a blank.
You are the worst.
It is one of the coolest feelings, though, whenever you find a voice actor that you really like, and then you start to hear them in a lot of other content you consume. There's Master Jiraiya, and it was like I was playing Skyrim, some video game, and then I was just like, I know that voice. Where's that voice from? I was like, oh, that's a show that I spent like, I don't know, 50 hours watching or something. They have something with a lot of seasons. It's always a cool Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer does a lot.
Billy West. He's the voice actor for like a ton of characters in Futurama. Have you ever seen it? He does Fry. He does the Professor. He does Zap Brannigan. He does, who else? He does a whole bunch of random characters. Like, I love it. Maybe 60% of the characters are just Billy West.
Just one dude
talking to himself.
Like the South Park team, where two guys voice every single one, except for I think Chef is like, and then guest actors that come on.
Oh boy,
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
He's the same way.
So
like, here, do all these voices. They could do like 30 voices, and you're like,
but they're all like 90% the same.
It's very close.
It's just the cadence is slightly different with like a minor pitch shift or something. So
what'd you think about what Grogu, kind of that whole
Grogu?
What they did with his story?
I thought it was dumb how they did it.
Tell me how you really feel.
It ruins the payoff of the end of the last season of Mandalorian, because it gets undone in an episode of a season or of a show that isn't related to it at all. Really?
I would have much rather watched, or I would have much rather it have ended the way like he stays with Luke and like grows up and then like he's like bigger and can talk and he's just like a freaking Jedi master.
Or he's there for like the entirety of the next Mandalorian season and he gets actual training.
Right.
Or I don't know if he's already had training from when he was like actually at the Jedi Academy. But like,
I don't know, man.
There needed to be like a time period where like him and the Mandalorian weren't around, and like some like revelation reveal that like, hey, like he can't actually focus 100%.
Yep.
But then it's just like the Mandalorian showed up and he has like some armor, and so you have to make a choice now. It's like, why? Like,
I know.
There was no point in making him make that choice right then.
Now that you have a gift from the person who saved your life, you must choose me or him.
Even though we did that at the last episode of the season. She's like, why are you doing this?
It's like, Luke kind of seems like a turd. Yeah.
He must have like some parental issues.
I know, right? It's me or no one. Grogu.
It's me or the planet.
You should have watched it. Sorry. This sucks for you.
No, I'm just thinking about it a little bit. I think part of too, now that I'm thinking a little bit more deeply, is I'm not a huge like deeply invested in some of the other shows that we're mentioning, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where I don't know the lore, I don't know the original source material, so I'm not as attached to it. So whenever they make huge story shifts, which was also in the source material, it doesn't seem as big of a change because like the what they call world building, the established set of rules and the parameters for how a world works, I'm not attached to it, so I'm very liberal in what direction the show goes with. But Star Wars is like something that I grew up with. So whenever they make a huge shift, it like irritates me a lot because I'm like, that is not the precedent so far. And even if they have some half attempted running through their
said it once, might as well throw it in there again.
Double down. Even if they go, you know, and don't push through all the way with it, whatever. It just irritates me so much because it's like I know how things are supposed to be, and that's just, you know, me being a consumer and having an opinion on what an artist does with their own work. So.
And like none of the stuff that actually happened is bad. It's just like the pacing of it's all wrong.
Yeah.
Like there should have been like like build up to it and like more time and intention. It's like,
there's
why?
There's nothing wrong with it, but a lot more time in between all of it. You're like, oh, you know, you feel like, oh, he's been with like Grogu's been with like Luke for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, the Mandalorian's like, I miss you, and then he drops him off something. You know, 3 weeks later, like, I'm back. You know, and you're like, well, that didn't last. Like, why did you go with him in the first place? Like, the whole point was for you to be trained. And I was like, I want to see
now he doesn't have any training, and now the Mandalorian has him again, and I guess he's going to be trained to be a Mandalore, be part of Mandalore, or
But is Mandalorian even part of it anymore? Because didn't she like exile him? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I was so confused. I came in with questions and left with 30,000 more. Nothing answered.
And then they introduced another bounty hunter from the animated series, Cad Bane, or what's his name? He's a blue alien dude with like orange eyes.
Must be new.
He's not new. He's from the animated series. And everybody was super pumped about him.
That dude was tight.
I need to look him up. I'm going to switch to you. You talk.
Okay. He was scary.
Yeah.
But it was like, when he came on, like I was like, okay, that's cool. Like he was a good protagonist.
Yeah.
Like he definitely, you're like, I hate the fact that you killed all these important people. But your mouse on my head.
You're on the monitor.
But you know, it sucked that he killed all those villagers and stuff, but it was super cool because he's just cool.
Yeah, well,
I wanted
those villagers.
Those villagers, man. Oh my goodness.
Come on.
Did I get rid of that?
Leave the villagers out of that.
Oh jeez.
Oh
jeez, Rick.
Technical difficulties here.
I'm trying to show them something, but it's this blue guy here. I'm going to show them, and you can see their faces. It's that guy.
Yeah, no, I recognize that.
Yeah.
You thought you said blue and orange, but I guess the eyes are. It's just not as noticeable
like
in the animated series.
something.
He's a bounty hunter, isn't he?
Yes, he's a bounty hunter, and he has a lot of.
Is he really old in the show? because he should be.
I don't think they talk about that. Like they don't. They don't really point on
He's
it.
an alien.
They mentioned he has history with Boba Fett.
Yes,
They know each other, and then they just like kill him.
He gone.
He
like
should
2
have been
episodes?
like a recurring character.
Okay, that is pretty JoJo. They're just like, look at all these cool characters we can kill off.
Yeah.
Bye.
He was like
Game of Thrones.
This is a known character that people are like, this. He's super cool, and he's like a little bad.
No, they're gonna do the Loki thing where they just pull him back out of nowhere. They did it with Boba Fett. Anytime the fan base likes a character enough, Disney's like, oh, we could make more money if we just brought him back.
Branch off. Just prequel.
I wonder
everything.
if they did like. They're going to pull that like off screen. Somebody pulled him from to the side and then revived him, and now he's back with a vengeance. He's going to be a villain again.
Again, the precedent with this universe is like they have in the future dystopian, but they also have like advanced medical technology that like rebuilds bodies. Like General Grievous, the guy said that was like mostly robot. I meant like he had a heart and like some lungs and a brain, and that was the only thing human left in him. So it's like. They could do whatever they want at this point with it.
Which was a plot point, actually, with Fennec, forget their name. The girl that Boba's with.
Yes.
She almost died, and Boba saved her.
That's right.
And by taking her to the mod people, which installed a whole bunch of droid parts in her to save her. And so she's part robot now.
Beep boop, beep boop.
We all will be.
They're beeping around.
Beeping.
Beep boop beep.
Oh, what was I gonna say? There was something
must
that
have been very important.
We're talking about the blue guy dying. And he might be brought back or something.
Oh yeah, I was like, thank goodness they are not introducing time travel.
Oh, sounds like a good idea. I hope they do it.
I mean, they already talked about like warp speed and stuff, so it's like,
They
what
just do
happens
it
if we
reverse.
go even faster? Or like we can blow a ship up, and they're like, what happens if we go even faster in reverse?
Time travel.
It's a Death Star, but it sends the planets back in time 100 years.
So we blow up and then bring them back, and blow them up and bring them back until they.
The next thing you know, Han Solo comes back.
Oh no.
Oh, dude, it just makes me sad what they did with the IP because it's not what I would have done with it, and I think that's really what it comes down to.
I think that's why everybody's sad. It's like you could have done anything but the stuff you did.
The thing that makes it really frustrating is there's like so much fan ideas on the internet of what they could have done. Also, they had like entire, I don't know if people are aware, there's a thing called Extended Universe, which was George Lucas and a bunch of other writers just came together and like wrote hundreds and hundreds of other books on like what happens outside of the movies, and Disney comes along, they're like, yeah, we don't really like that. It was, they called the EU, the Extended Universe. And like, yeah, we just throw that all out. We will keep the animated series that is still canon, and then everything else they ever did was gone. It's like the movies and then that TV show that went on, I think it was on Disney actually at the time.
Cartoon Network.
That's
a while.
Okay.
It's about filling our faces with content 100% of the year, because if you don't, then people will cancel Disney Plus.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about last week with Scott. Like, to me, it's intentional, and people are like, why don't you watch the shows? And it's because I want to know if it's worth my time before I waste it. It's like the same with social media. I don't want to sit there and scroll. I don't want to sit there and watch a TV show if it's like, it's just filler. Like, I want it to be rewarding, and I feel like I got something out of it.
Yeah, but look how lame you are because you can't have this conversation.
Yeah, I can't have a conversation about how you watched 4 episodes before it was there was any. It wasn't even payoff. It was just like that was when I got interested.
There was just no development in like the character at all. Like he just didn't have any arc the entire series.
Oh, speaking of that,
there was no change. What are you?
What did I do?
No, there's a TV show that's notorious for that, and that's called Naruto.
Oh no!
It's another one of them weeb shows. A bunch of people that watch way too much TV, too much time on their hands. It's like an infinite show, but it's notorious for having way too much what we call filler. It's just episodes to fluff. It doesn't build character development. It's just stationary stuff. And I bring it up not because that it has anything to do with the filler side of it, but the people have been wanting a movie about it for a long time. And somebody, let me pose a question for you. How would you feel if we made a couple short films, like some nice little indie projects, 60 seconds to 5 minutes each, and somebody took all of those at face value and just put it together in a compilation, put music on it, took out all the audio, and then re-uploaded it and got millions and millions of views.
Well, that would make me mad.
How would you feel if they credited you?
I don't know. That's not as bad.
And if they didn't credit you?
That's bad.
Okay, so there's an artist that I really like.
I'm assuming I'm answering all these questions correctly.
You can answer them however you want. Okay. There's an artist named Alex Rosa, and he's a VFX artist that's like based out of South America, and he's lived on a shoestring budget for a long time, and he worked for a big production house, and he started doing indie stuff.
Okay. And
he had been making these like couple of month, super high detailed, like cinema level VFX shots of all of these Naruto based short film, like 15-second to a minute long. Somebody came along, took all of them, put it together in a little trailer thing, called it 2022 movie release for the show, and then doesn't credit it at all in any of it.
Well, re-uploading is bad too, because in like on YouTube, you can make money off that as well.
Yes.
And so like what really needs to happen is the artist needs to get credit and also proceeds from that.
Yeah.
Which is like a double whammy.
Well, the thing too is it wasn't just this artist's work. He took it from like 3 or 4 other artists. So there was like, it's arguably like it's what do they call fair use,
creative
transformative
creation, whatever.
Yeah, so it's arguable that it is, but all they did was took it from start to end, threw it on a timeline of back to back to back of the footage, and then just threw music on it, throws it up. And I was so irritated on his behalf that, like, you know, I flagged the video, I sent it off to him because, you know, it hasn't happened to us yet, but a lot of people we like and follow that happens to them, and it's frustrating because you're not getting credit. You put in a lot of work, and it's not like you mind so much that they stole it, but at least say where you got it so people can go back if they want more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're never going to be those people, but it's just like with the house photos that we talked about. It's like, hey, thanks, but like, can you credit us? Because we shot it.
Definitely.
We put the time into it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to put like 5 minutes of Naruto like right here, though, just so you can understand.
Well, at least then we're talking about it. All he did was probably threw a copyrighted song over top, and that copyrighted company for the song's going to get all the credit for it, and all the artists that did the VFX will get 0, which would be even worse because music industry is 10 times worse than like YouTube flagging for an individual creator that's only got like, I think he only had like 300K subs at the time the video was stolen.
Oh, man.
So it's like small enough.
But yeah.
And plus, it's not like he's a big company. It's one dude that makes the stuff that's like we want to make. It's like he's got VFX, he's got, you know, costume design. It's almost always deep faked. It's like it's like such a technical marvel for 1 or 2 people to come together and make. It's like, dude, to put in that much work, 15 minimum hours just to like get ready and prep it, and then like another 45, 50 hours just for one guy. On top of his day job, on top of everything else he's doing. It's like, that's your passion project, and people are just ripping.
Yeah.
People suck.
People suck.
It just makes me think of like the hundreds of people who work on like Marvel movies, probably thousands.
Probably.
It's like, I was part of the team that worked on the 2-second shot of Thanos putting on the glove.
That's a legitimate thing.
Yeah. And it's like, then you have like other creators who spend hours to make like a 5-minute feature long like indie film, and it's like, but there's so much more of like, I don't know, like your creative input there and heart put into it.
It shows. It shows
Yeah.
so much because it's like these these like places that own the IP have had these huge budgets for years, and it's like they keep rolling out the same old stuff because it makes money. Why bother? And everybody says what they want. And it reminds me of the Obi-Wan thing. It's like people for years have been wanting like an Obi-Wan standalone starring Ewan McGregor. And it's like, all right, fine. You put in a petition, and finally the right people got an order. And it's like, just don't mess it up. Just don't mess it up. And then, you know. And
that's a big ask.
I was going to say that is a big ask.
And it goes both ways, because whenever you do the indie stuff and you're like, well, fine, I'll just make it myself. Either somebody steals it, it gets more views, or you get copyright flagged by the original company and you'll get a cease and desist because, you know, that's their IP, which in turn makes it canon because they're claiming that it's part of their IP. So, you know, anything where like a Disney star does something bad in an animation,
it happened at some point.
It must have happened at some time because it wasn't transformative. And that's one of my favorite arguments on why companies shouldn't be able to do their IP stuff like the way they do.
Yeah. It's so interesting because we're so protective now, mainly because of the big old mouse, because it keeps extending the copyright protection.
Yeah.
Where that didn't exist back when all those stories were like public domain, is like basically up to when the author died. I forget.
It used to be very different. Yeah.
Yes. And then they just gobbled up all the stories, turned them into something popular, and then like, they're mine now. Well, nobody can have them.
They do it with open IP stuff too. So like the idea of Thor, which is like, I don't know if you're aware, much older than Disney.
Yes.
Like this from the 80s?
Kind of. like 80s.
80.
The year 80s.
Ought 80s.
Yeah, just the year 80s. Yeah, so like that as an IP is open source. Anybody can make a movie about Thor if they wanted. But the idea of how Marvel has marketed Thor, that's an actual Disney IP, and you can't take that idea of Thor, which is where they run into the issues with like the actor's likeness and stuff. So in the what is the show that What If that Disney's running into, they don't want to pay the original actors, you know, for X amount because of the likeness, so they're like making the characters look slightly different so that they don't have to pay the actor the full price. Or if they do any TV shows, they don't hire the A-list actors, but they'll mention them. And it all has to do with money and the IP.
They've been doing that with their video games too for a while.
The video games, that's a huge one.
They don't look like them at all from the movies. They don't sound like them because it's different and everything.
Yeah.
So
it's just
makes me mad.
Well, it's frustrating because it's like it's in the way of creativity, and it's just because of money.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe it's the actors because they want more money after a certain point. But at the, it's not like Disney doesn't make enough.
Did you guys see that article?
What's the article?
There's an article about how much money. I think it was how much money Robert Downey Jr. got paid to be in one of the Spider-Mans.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think they said he was in the movie for literally like 15 minutes, maybe less.
200 mil.
It was a lot. Let me see if I can find it real fast.
Crazy. 200 million.
Just trying to run the calculations for like how many people is working on a movie, and then like you have to pay them like some sort of wage, and like those numbers add up quick, and like you start to realize like, oh, Disney paid 1,000 people to work on this.
Yeah.
And then on top of like the payment for just like the actors. Yeah. It's like no wonder movies are just exploding and like how much they cost.
Well, you were saying like when they credit the people that contributed to the movie, VFX houses get outsourced all the time by Disney because Disney, I don't think, internally makes stuff. They own ILM now, and ILM's a big one, but there's like Weta Digital, and there's Pixar. You know, they own a lot, but there's also a lot that gets outsourced, and all those outsourced companies at the end have hundreds of employees too. So it's like that movie industry, especially with COVID, whenever that dipped for like the 2 years before platform streaming went up, that's hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, whatever, $1 billion industry, but it's also hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to families that just like, it's more than just the people that are actors. It's all the people on sets, all the people that are in the production design. It's the people that make costumes, or it's the people that make material that goes into the costumes. it's like
people that bring food to the people make the costumes.
Catering. Yeah, no, it's like, it's literally the logistic trucks. Like
there's a lot to it.
It's such a intertwined nightmare that whenever one piece of it's like, we're going to take a break, the whole thing just shuts down.
Yeah. So what was your guess for the
200 mil?
200 mil?
What do you think that movie made?
I'm gonna
Spider-Man: Homecoming
won $800 million, and a quarter of it went to Robert Downey Jr. That's my guess.
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna say 50 million.
That's how much Robert Downey Jr. made?
Yeah.
The movie did make $880 million. Good job.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
That's right on.
I try to stay up to date.
So it's not near as much as you guys thought, but still, he was
15 minutes.
15 minutes, 15 million.
15. So a million for each minute.
A minute.
A million a minute. Like I'm just saying, like I know it's not like this crazy exponential number, but when you break it down to something like that, like that's insane. Like you could say I was worth
too much.
$1 million a minute.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So there's a Kanye song where it's like, I get what you get in 10 years in 2 days.
Can you say Kanye?
Yeah.
It's not Kanye.
Is it not?
No, that's the guy that hit Rihanna.
Chris Brown?
Chris Brown.
Oh, shoot.
Our superhero, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Did you say superhero?
Oh, there's a video.
Oh, I was like, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, a bunch of ladies about to be mad at you.
No.
Oh, goodness.
No, it's...
Yeah.
You'll show me
should
later.
I
It's
explain?
it's exponentially more than what you get in 10 years in 2 days. Because if you got $15 million in 2 days, you know, that's pretty dang good. But 15 million, 15 minutes is like, that's just the rate at which he acquired that. And of course, you know, there's, you know, pre-production, there's acting, there's him on set and all. Maybe it was a 2-day shoot, whatever. So that's insane.
Oh yeah, he made $75 million on Infinity War.
Wow. But it wasn't 15 minutes of his time, though, on Spider-Man. There was probably lots of shoots and retakes and all that stuff, too.
I don't know about retakes. It's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, the film, it was the time on screen.
Yeah, time on screen.
But he was, let's see, he was shooting cast and crew for a mere 3 days.
Yeah.
So he was on set for 3 days.
He read his
50
lines.
million in 3 days. Plus whatever screen time and profits
still
from the
probably
show.
more than I'm going to get in 10 years. So
Yeah, when this
he's
article
on average.
This article was written in 2020, and at that point in time, they're saying he has an estimated net worth of $300 million, and Chris Hemsworth has got 130, and 80 million for Chris Evans.
What's Chris Brown's?
His net worth?
Yeah, what's Chris Brown's?
Yeah.
We brought him into it.
Yeah, he's part of the Marvel Cinematic
I get what you
Universe.
get in 10 years.
I guarantee it's not that high.
No, the superhero thing.
50 million.
Making fun.
That's
50 million?
50 million.
Dude,
Wow.
imagine like spending your whole life doing one thing and one guy comes in and one movie just rips through that. He'll get there someday. We believe in you, Chris Brown.
That's intense, man.
Never
Brown.
stop believing.
Gosh, we should do a whole celebrity net worth episode.
Oh, dude, that'd be tight.
Of all the criminal celebrities.
We just take guesses.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could just guess.
Wasn't it alleged? Did he get convicted?
I don't know.
So I wanted to jump ship here real quick while we're talking about celebrities. You all know Robert.
I don't want to talk about celebrities anymore.
Oh, it's fine. It's funny to me. Robert Patterson, you know, got the new Batman. You
Yeah,
seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
Wow.
I hear good things.
I've heard really good things. In fact, to me, Christian Bale's Batman. However, Robert Patterson did one thing.
Say his last name again. How's it go?
Patterson?
Patterson?
Is that not it?
That's not it.
Oh, shoot. I wrote it wrong.
It's Pattinson.
Pattinson? Pattinson.
You're not good with the last names. I had to call you out because I was like, that ain't right.
You know what?
You know what?
New Batman.
New Batman.
There you go.
New Batman. New Batman. He did one thing that I liked so much that, you know what? I don't have to watch the movies to think that he's a pretty cool dude.
What that?
So he had an after party of the movie release.
Okay.
And it was in NYC. So do you guys know what else is in NYC?
Buildings.
Pete Davidson's place. He
Oh
owns a
my
club
gosh.
downtown. So Pete Davidson is a guy from SNL that is like a comedian-esque guy. He's also an actor.
Kanye's enemy.
Kanye's enemy because he started dating, allegedly, Kim Kardashian, Kanye's ex. And before we jump too deep into
what's happening?
The reason that it's funny to me is at the after party, Rob Batman, fake Batman,
Pattinson.
new Batman comes in. He comes in and he plays Kanye music the entire night at the guy's club that has beef, that he does not get along with Kanye. And I was just like, the pettiness and the humor of this man.
That's pretty funny.
It's
That's
pretty
funny.
It's pretty on par. I love it. I love the attitude. You know what? If you can go into somebody's building and just play his enemy's music all night long, because you make more money than him, I assume. I don't know. Maybe Pete Davidson's rich.
I'm just picturing like middle schoolers on a playground. He's like, he's over by my tree. He's like playing Kanye music on his phone near it. It's like, he's so bad.
You know he stole my girl.
I don't know. It's just funny thinking like a grown man who clearly has no skin in the game, just doing it for the pettiness. I just find that so
funny.
humorous.
Yeah.
So
Good for
yeah, that's as far as I'll go into celebrities today.
You'd have to be funny to play opposite Kristen Stewart.
They balance each other out. She has such a wide range of acting skills.
Yes.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Did you pull up something on your laptop? I saw you looking at something.
Huh?
Huh?
You were looking something up.
No,
You
I
were looking
wouldn't.
at something.
Yeah, no, I was looking. I was making sure I was going to say her name right.
Ah.
I wanted to be smart.
So we've drifted a long way from Boba Fett.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, I don't want it to be
I'm
like
surprised they
a
didn't put any
2-hour.
pop songs in there to, make it appeal to everybody.
Hey,
Real
well,
fast though, dude. Did you see that? You got me on this now. Did you see that Kanye and Pete Davidson were texting
No.
and they leaked all the texts?
Which one leaked it? I mean,
It was Pete. I'm pretty sure.
Pete's a comedian. I could see it.
Yeah, because he was like, "Hey man, quit worrying about everything," and Kanye's like, "Nah, dude." Or no, I think he was like, "What are you doing?" And Pete Davidson was like, "I'm sleeping in the same bed as your wife."
Oh,
and he was
no.
like, "You better be careful and like be taking where are my kids at? Like, how are my kids? Like, you taking care of my kids? My wife needs to be taking care of my kids." And my favorite comment, it was on TikTok because Kanye addressed this on his TikTok, by the way.
As one does whenever
It's a prayer. And
Prayer.
Yes, he said a prayer about it. And and the stuff that Pete Davidson was saying was hilarious. And then somebody in the comments was like, "Dude, it's at night. They're in bed. Like, your kids are in bed."
It's bedtime.
Homie. I don't know, man. It's a lot. You got to check it out. Just saying, you want a quick little chuckle.
Hey man, he's got something going on upstairs that I can't diagnose. So you know what?
Oh,
if he
yeah.
misses his kids,
Scott.
that's pretty sad.
Scott, we
Scott.
need your diagnose for Kanye.
Oh, dude, I should have asked him.
Dude, that would have been tight. I'm going to show you a video of this man. Tell me what his diagnosis is.
As in your professional pastoral opinion.
He's not a pastor.
We made it clear he's not a pastor. We did the background check.
What about pastor?
Pattinson.
Is Budnick?
Robert Patterson.
Is John Budnick a pastor?
He's a chaplain.
Not anymore.
I'm just like throwing out everything I mispronounce.
Yes.
Robert Patterson.
Budnick Patterson.
Oh, good old Budnick Patterson, the pastor.
Anybody else got anything else?
Got any juice?
What?
Got any juice? Dude, these mics are so directional.
You got
Dunning Kruger Effect.
I watched
You want to talk about the Dunning Kruger Effect?
I want to talk about it now because I know enough about people's names to get it wrong and be confident about it. David, you wrote this down.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Dunning Kruger. What is it? And do you have anything on it?
I wrote it and I
Yes.
did research on it, but I forget what it is now.
Oh,
It was
you
so
did,
long
Cole?
ago.
You researched it a little bit?
Yeah,
So-
I know everything about it.
Yeah. Because he did about 5 minutes of research.
No, because he's got the Dunning Kruger effect.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wow, you're
Hey,
peeking.
your ears just got Chris Brown.
Yeah. Oh, no. No.
Allegedly.
My whole night is made. Was he convicted?
I don't know.
Okay, go on and tell me about the Dunning Kruger.
Dunning Kruger,
Kruger.
while I exemplify what it means, go ahead and tell us about it.
Right. So this is how when people first start learning something, they start once they get like a little bit of knowledge and understanding of whatever it is, say like woodworking. They spend like a week like trying to figure out how to do something. They all of a sudden feel very, very confident in their skills of like doing woodworking. And in reality, they're not. They barely learned anything, but they get this like sudden rush of bolstering confidence that they are like an expert on it. And then like right afterwards, it's like climbing their confidence. But then they realize they don't know anything and their confidence goes down. And there's this well of like, I forget what it's called. Ignorance.
Imposter syndrome. As you gain
yeah.
skill, you're not really sure where in that valley you lie. Are you on the precipice of I'm actually starting to get it, or am I still in the I don't know what the heck I'm doing phase?
Yes.
And somewhere in there that's when people start getting hit with imposter syndrome. And some people still have that feeling 20 years into the practice, but it just depends on who you are and where you're at.
Yeah.
So
There
Is
you
that what
go.
kinda- familiar with Cole?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know just enough about all these topical-ish stories to have some Dunning Kruger. Is it Robert Patterson?
Patterson, he
and
knows.
John
Pattinson.
Budnick.
What's another movie he was in?
John
Robert
Bundick? I don't know if
Pattinson.
he was in a movie.
He should be. He's a great actor. Like
Yeah.
he's just got that charisma. I
Who?
feel like he could pull it off.
Who?
John?
John
Who?
Bundick?
No. It's not who I'm
I can't
talking
remember
about.
any movies
He could be
he
in a
was in.
movie. But
He could be in one of ours.
do you know another movie that Robert Pattinson is in?
Other than Twilight? No.
Oh, okay. That works, though. I'm just
All
making
right,
sure.
yeah.
Trying to see how cool you are.
Is he in other movies? Has
Yeah.
he done anything in the last 10 years?
Yeah, he was in Harry Potter.
For real?
Was he?
Did he replace?
I haven't seen any Harry Potter.
Did he
Yeah.
replace Johnny Depp? Another alleged thing.
What?
Johnny Depp's getting replaced, and that's the subcategory of Harry Potter. What is it called? The mythical beasts or whatever.
Oh,
yeah. The whole
really?
alleged thing. Disney just like pulled everything out on him. It's really sad because it was all alleged. Turns out none of it was true.
Yeah, it was her fault, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't think she got convicted either. But
Oh, okay.
But
Hey, Chris Brown pled guilty, just so you know.
okay.
I looked it up.
I was
Hey.
going to say Chris Brown's
You know what?
free. And so she
Yeah. I feel like because we had Scott Hunley on last week, if you
Yeah.
or someone you know is in
Oh my
domestic
goodness.
abuse situation, you should call, get some help. It's a very serious topic. We're just
Yes.
making light of it.
Chris
Given
Brown's-
the specific,
he sucks, so it's fun to make fun
these
of him.
specific situations. Yeah. I don't know. His music's okay. Actually, okay. No.
I got you.
One last thing.
No, if you're going to say the thing, it's 800-799-SAFE.
I got a song sent to me from my stepdad, and it was like one of the Elevation Worship bands, and it said featuring Chris Brown. And I was
Ooh.
like, is this the same Chris Brown? Is there another Chris Brown? I don't know. And I listened to the song, and I can't tell when Chris Brown comes in, and I don't know which Chris Brown it is, but apparently it's like a collab album, and I think he like contributed to more than one song. Allegedly. Dunning Kruger.
Dude, I bet that's a pretty big hit.
That's not what Dunning Kruger is. You can't just say
Nothing? No
Dunning
one?
Kruger. Well, I know enough about Dunning Kruger to say it's Dunning Kruger.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. That's perfect.
What a rap. Oh man, character development arcs. I don't know.
Better than Boba Fett.
Better than Boba Fett. Disney, get it together. I'm tired of watching crappy shows.
Yeah.
Loki was
You're
amazing.
not even watching them.
Loki
I'm
was
tired of
amazing.
watching crappy shows, but I ain't watching that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like one of the boomers making, they complain about something. You're like, well, have you looked at it recently? Like, no, I just know about it.
I haven't watched it,
I
but you know,
I know a thing or two.
I know I shouldn't.
Oh man, that Dunning Kruger will get you.
Freddy Krueger?
Dude, we should do a spinoff. It's Freddy Krueger's brother Dunning. He's gonna sneak up and
that'd be great, actually.
He's like,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking about. Just comes up, slaps you.
Dude, this is
Yeah.
what I want the podcast to be. I just want it to be us riffing until we come up with an idea for a video.
Well, that's what we did.
And then one day when we make enough monies, then and we can just actually start producing these like weekly, bi-weekly, monthly,
like it.
whatever.
This is just our writers meeting.
Yeah, no, it really is.
I like it. I like
Sweet.
it.
Yeah.
What do
And
you
if
like?
you like it, were you about to do the
I was
same
about to
thing?
do the same thing. We were like, boo, 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 boo.
Hey.
Our last two brain cells collided into the little finger joint thing.
And they just went boom. So yeah, if you like this podcast, do us a favor. You could leave us a review. There's a couple platforms that let you leave reviews on our podcast, and that would be awesome. That'd help us a lot because we want to hit the charts, people. We're trying to hit the charts.
And if you're on YouTube and you disliked it, doesn't really matter. The button doesn't work.
yeah, it's on you. Well, we see it and it makes us depressed, so please don't.
Yeah,
check
so
it-
it doesn't even work at all,
Don't.
YouTube.
I want to have to go talk to Scott again.
But we are on YouTube, so check out YouTube. We're on there as the TRIFLIX cast, or you could try the TRIFLIX team or the TRIFLIX films page. We got lots of good stuff on all of them. And then we're also on Instagram as TRIFLIX LLC. And if you want to go support the cast, go to TRIFLIX Cast on Instagram.
There's a lot of TRIFLIX.
We got the Facebook page as well. Go check that guy out. That's got a bunch of stuff on it. And then even better, you could go to triflix.com.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool place to be.
That's where everything's at. That's where it's happening.
Everything's there. And if you want to hire us, you can hire us from that too.
Yeah.
Or give us a call.
If you want
So many options.
and if you don't subscribe, I'm gonna run away from home again.